Thanks for staying with us. Now, another dreaded fuel price to be implemented at midnight. Motorists can expect to pay more for fuel by midnight after government announced another hefty fuel price hike for this month. Now, the fuel price increase comes as government's 75 cents reduction in the fuel levy expires on the 3rd of August this year. And the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy says all grades of petrol will go up by between R2.37 and R2.57 a litre. All grades of diesel increase by R2.32, while paraffin sees a R1.66 increase per litre. Fuel prices have increased by 20% since January and over 40% this year compared to the same period last year. Local fuel prices are determined by international oil prices as well as the dollar-rand value as South Africa buys oil in dollars. The major increase to the fuel price remains the increase to international petroleum, and that is being driven by the conflict in Ukraine, which is contributing to supply and demand pressures. Now, let's stay with issues around the rolling blackouts. Do you have cell phone signal during rolling blackouts? Some people saying they don't, others saying they seem to have. But what impact is this also having on the cell phone towers? And some are saying, of course, as you saw some of the viewers saying that they're missing important phone calls. But how are the network giants dealing with this particular issue? We've reached out to other mobile networks, but only MTN was available for this particular conversation. And let's speak now to Jacqui O Sullivan, who's the MTN Corporate Affairs Executive. Thank you so much, Jacqui, for your time. One of the things that we'll talk about in this conversation, of course, is about the drop-in signal, but I can't help but start with an interesting, initiative that I see MTN embarking upon. You are on an aggressive rollout of batteries, alternative power sources, as well as sourcing generators from small businesses. How is this all going to work?
That's correct, Bungiwe. We have been rolling out batteries across our network for a number of years now. We've managed to upgrade those batteries to about 80% of our network so far. The problem with the batteries is that once you get to stage 4 and higher, the efficiency starts to wane. And the reason why is that we get sort of 12 to 18 hours we get between 6 and 12 hours of supply from our batteries, but it takes them 12 to 18 hours to recharge. So when we're having stage 4 or 5 or 6 load shedding, there isn't enough time for the batteries to recharge. So that's a fundamental problem. So we've had to roll out generators as well. We have a lot of generators out there. We're buying 400,000 liters of fuel at the moment. So it's costing us obviously huge amounts of money, but our focus is on keeping our customers connected. So what we've said is, as a proudly South African brand, we're trying to look at how we can turn what is fundamentally an energy crisis into an opportunity. And we're always looking at ways through our enterprise and supply development to look at how we can bring small businesses into the telecommunications sector, which has traditionally been very difficult, very high barriers to entry for small businesses. So what we're looking to do is to reach out to small businesses. So even if they just have a few generators, we're looking to see how can we still follow our procurement and governance process, but perhaps expedite that and try and bring some small operators into the market. Just to try and see if we can support those businesses in this really, really tough economy.
So are you bringing them in as suppliers, or are you buying these generators from them?
So we're looking at a variety of models. We basically said to small businesses, if you're interested, drop us an email to power@mtn.com. And what we're looking at is what is feasible. There's all sorts of potential options. We could partner with communities. We're always looking to partner with communities, because the communities that are strongly working with us are the ones who can protect their signal from the thieves that come and steal the batteries, which is a massive, massive problem that we're dealing with. So in that same vein, there may well be a chance for us to outsource this to some of our businesses in our areas where we have our sites. So we could be partnering with them on a rental basis. These are various options that we're looking to explore and see how we can put some of the money that we're spending back into the hands of the communities that we're serving.
And are you taking any generators here, or must they meet certain requirements?
Exactly, Bongiwe. There are certain requirements. There has to be a minimum of 1,000 litres at least. But if there are interested parties, they can drop us that email, and then we can provide all the specifications. There are certain requirements, but they could potentially be met by many different companies that are out there. So rather than looking for one single huge supplier, we're looking to see if we can take it down onto a smaller basis.
You've alluded to it a little earlier on in this discussion. I mean, you talk about generators, we're thinking fuel prices. I mean, a lot of people are worried about this, particularly small businesses who are already feeling the pinch of the rolling blackouts. Some are still trying to recover from the impact of the pandemic. So how are you then going to ensure that you cushion some part of the blow here? Because they're possibly going to be thinking about some of the issues around the fuel prices.
It's a huge issue, Bongi, where I don't think that there is a part of the country and any business that's not been affected by this. This load shedding has been really, really challenging to us. We have these batteries, but as I said, stage 4 renders those less efficient. It's absolutely critical that we keep people connected. We've got a lot of small businesses that we support, as well as large businesses as well. So the combination between using batteries and generators is certainly one solution. And that's what we're actively pursuing. Fortunately, we've invested heavily in batteries over the last 2 to 3 years. So it's not as though we're starting from scratch. We're well resourced, but the frequency of the load shedding is the problem. So the more we can put additional generators in place, these are short-term measures. We do not want to be using generators. They're not environmentally friendly, and they're not what we want in terms of our broader commitment to the environment. However, it's a short-term solution as we try and get through the worst of this stage 4 to 6 load shedding.
Now, Jacqui, one of the things that our viewers are talking about tonight, because we are asking them about the drop in cell phone signal during load shedding and how this is impacting them. I also saw even last year, for example, there was a concern from MTN that there was a theft of backup batteries, for example, at some cell phone towers. And this happens mainly during rolling blackouts, and even putting the figure at around 200 batteries that you said you were losing even monthly. How are things looking right now?
Unfortunately, it remains a massive problem for the entire industry. We are still seeing huge numbers of batteries being stolen. We understand it fits, it's part of a broader socio-economic pressure, but the loss of these batteries is contributing to the economic ails that the communities that we serve are feeling. So we have tried a huge number of different security mechanisms in order to protect them. We keep trying new systems, but the problem is always going to be there as long as people aren't working with us. So whether it's MTN or any other operator, we really call on communities to work with us. You know where the sites are, keep an eye on them. If you see suspicious individuals, there should not be somebody at a site after hours. And we are really calling on people to partner with us and the police. We've had some great successes with the police of making arrests, but we want to try and stop these things happening before people are left without being able to run their businesses or have their children do their school homework.
And very briefly, which provinces would you say you've been experiencing the most drop in network coverage?
So it really depends on the scale. Traditionally, you will see them in our large provinces, the Eastern Cape, Western Cape, and Gauteng. Gauteng gets very badly hit by theft, so that remains an ongoing problem for us. The use of voice calls is sometimes a little less affected because of the use of a lower frequency band. So sometimes you'll find that you can still make a voice call, but you're not going to be able to get your data through. But our focus is keeping our customers connected, which we've managed to do in most main areas. But we keep working on it. We have war rooms set up in all of the provinces, and all our field technicians have been moved off maintenance into purely and simply protecting the resilience of the network. So it literally is a 24-hour operation that we're running to try and make sure that our customers aren't too badly affected by this.
And it looks like it's not going to end anytime soon. But thank you so much for coming through, Jacqui, and giving us a sense of what exactly the picture looks like there. That was Jacqui O Sullivan, MTN Corporate Affairs Executive.